Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Before I Do, the show that shares with you everything that should be done before saying I do, whether you are dating, engaged, in a relationship, single, not sure if you want to be married. We are here to facilitate courageous conversation on dating and relationships. My name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings. And typically, this show, we have our speaking hour, piece, question, moment, segment, et cetera, et cetera. But we don't want you to hold your peace, okay? We want you to speak. We want you to engage with us. And tonight, we have definitely some case studies, some scenarios that we really need you to engage in because I don't know, you might find yourself in this particular situation, and we want you to weigh in.
Absolutely. Definitely want to make sure that you put your comments and your questions in the comments section, or especially if you're joining us tonight, be sure to always say hello. We are Southern folks, so we definitely believe in making sure that you are showing proper hospitality and greetings. So be sure to say hello, tell us where you're from so we can give you a shout out. We are continuing on. For those of you who may be joining us for the first time, we are talking about should relationships have secrets? And for those of you who may be joining us from the previous weeks, you know that we are on part 3. And tonight we are talking about the battleground of exceptions. So for those of you who may not have been with us last week, we had a really great conversation and a really great show discussing the difference between secrecy and privacy. Secrecy is deemed as information that is intentionally hid or withheld and is typically motivated by shame or fear. Some of these examples include hiding or lying about finances, misleading your partner about your other relationships and people that you're involved with, lying about your job or your career path, hiding an addiction or a bad habit or a challenging habit, engaging in some sexually explicit or suggested conversations with other people, or hiding parts of your sexual or physical past that actually is an impact to the relationship as of right now. And then we talked about privacy. Charmaine, you want to share a little bit about what privacy details?
All right. So some examples of privacy includes it's a form of self-possession and it's selective expressed autonomy in which a person is prudent with their facts and information of one's life. So this is protection and individuality, right? There's a level of privacy that we all have and maintain. For example, you don't just go out giving your bank account information to even your friends and family members, right? So we all have a certain level of privacy, but there are some benefits to privacy, right? Showering or getting dressed, undressed, right? We talked about that a few weeks ago. You might be one that, I don't care if you've been in a relationship for 20 years, you might want privacy when you're in the bathroom. Having passwords, email, social media accounts on your computers. There's a level of privacy that we should operate in to just safeguard and protect ourselves, right? Having personal conversations with friends and family members, right? There's some things that you will keep in confidence, and that's again operating in a level of privacy. And again, we're speaking of relationships who are healthy, not relationships where there has been a breach of trust and a violation in the relationship. But this is when privacy is healthy. All right, keeping embarrassing stories from your past to yourself, taking time for yourself to separate from your relationship. We all need a certain level of pride to maintain a sense of self.
Absolutely. And Charmaine, I thought that this conversation in regards to the distinction between secrecy and privacy was a really important point when we talk about some of the conflicts that exist within relationships as it relates to secrets. And so a lot of, if you all notice, of the overlap between secrecy and privacy are where some of the exceptions kind of live. And that is where the majority of the challenges within relationships exist. And so that is the basis of our discussion tonight. And actually our Speak Now question alludes to that. So when we talk about some of the exceptions when it comes to secrets, are any exceptions legitimate reasons to keep a secret? If we're hiding money, and if we're not disclosing money, if we're not sharing information about some of our relationships and interactions with other people, if we're not disclosing certain things in our past and that are relevant to our relationship, Are any of those reasons legitimate? Let's hear your comments in the chat of whether those things are legitimate. Charmaine, when you think about from a snap judgment with this particular question, what would you say?
I mean, it's very easy to say no. No
Mm-hmm.
circumstances do I want any secrets in my relationship. Under no circumstances will I accept any secrets in my relationship. But this goes back to, are there any exceptions or legitimate reasons to keep a secret? And we know that because of our experience with just relationships, and even our counseling journey, we know that sometimes when you're in a relationship with someone who is not healthy, I'm talking about someone that really may have a condition that is really, that condition has taken over. They are not operating in their rational mind. They're operating in their emotional mind, or they're operating in, they are a slave to their addiction, right? So, for example, when it comes to money, right? There have been times where we've had clients who, again, it was a matter of safeguarding the marriage, safeguarding the welfare and well-being of the children, that one spouse has had to really open up a different bank account to make sure the bills were paid, because one of the partners, again, might have had an addiction or just really had some impulse control issues, and were not able to honor the commitments that their finances were assigned to.
Absolutely. Hubert actually asked a really great question that is in alignment with our question for tonight. He says, when does lying equate, when is lying equates to privacy or to secrecy? And the way that I interpret that is, when is lying actually a person from their perspective protecting their privacy? Or when is it actually lying being used as a form of secrecy? And Hubert, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that. And what I will say is that as it relates to privacy and secrecy, bear in mind that you have a dynamic within a relationship where you have two individuals that are operating as one within a relationship. And there comes a point within your relationship where you have to put the well-being and the health of the relationship. Well, let me back up. There comes a point in your relationship where you are going to need to ask the question. Let me reframe that. You're going to need to ask the question: is the health and wellness of my relationship more important than my individual preferences or needs? Bearing in mind that the health of you as an individual is ultimately going to impact the health and wellness of the relationship. So there are certain things, for example, that you want to make sure that you defend and protect individually, because you know that it is an important part of maintaining the health of the relationship. Now, with that being said, going directly to Hubert's question, it's important to be open and honest as it relates to information that is being asked. If it is a challenge with you telling the truth, then you need to at least disclose why it is a challenge telling the truth. And this actually alludes to some of the key questions that we're going to be covering actually tonight and discussing as a group. So Hubert, you're right on board with this. Charmaine, what do you say about this whole idea of lying as it equates to privacy or secrecy?
I mean, I love the question, because you're right. Sometimes, it's easy for individuals to say, well, I didn't lie because I didn't provide misinformation, right? But omission of the truth is a lie, right? And so when we're talking about secrecy, right? And secrecy is something where, when we're looking at it, and we talk about the exceptions, because it's not that we're condoning the exceptions, but we have seen at times where people have withheld the truth and they haven't been completely transparent, because there is a form of sickness in the relationship, right? And so most of these exceptions lean towards trauma, sickness, or something like that. But regarding the question about when is lying equate to privacy or secrecy, like how did that, the bottom line is, lying is omission of the truth or providing misinformation, meaning you're not really being like transparent. And so that's why, even with this topic tonight of secrecy versus privacy, like, Privacy is meant to um, really provide a sense of self. But when you are in a relationship, you do have a partner. When you are married, right, everything that you do impacts your partner. And so there's a limited level of privacy, but there is privacy. Like if I want to use the bathroom, again, I keep up bringing the bathroom because that's just a very intimate moment. That's privacy. That's okay, right? It's okay for the couple to establish what is an acceptable level of privacy. When it comes to secrecy, I love to ask this question. First of all, why are you withholding information? Right? Lying to me is definitely, it's clear when somebody provides that information. Right? But secrecy is in alignment with withholding the truth. You are omitting the truth or you're hoarding the truth. That falls in that secrecy place. And tonight we really want to unpack some of the reasons why people withhold the truth. However, time is a big emphasis on that, right? 20 years, 30 years, like why are you holding on to truth for 20 and 30 years? Is that really healthy?
Yeah, and bear in mind that again, with our show Before I Do, we focus on dating. So obviously the rules of engagement are different within a marriage. There's a level of transparency and disclosure and accessibility that absolutely is inferred there. But dating and in a relationship, the whole idea of lying, right? There shouldn't be a reason to lie, because the truth is, even if I don't feel comfortable sharing that information, the truth is I don't feel comfortable sharing that information with you right now, and here's why. Now, it may lead to a courageous or uncomfortable conversation, but it is important, again, if you're going to commit to operating in a relationship that is void of secrecy, then you've got to be willing to have those courageous and uncomfortable conversations. So once again, our Speak Now question of the night is, are there any exceptions that have legitimate reasons to be kept as a secret? You all, we're going to take a really quick commercial break and we're going to get into some of these scenarios. And so be sure to stay tuned and we'll be right back with more Before I Do. Stay tuned, everybody.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
A lot of great things going on here at the Couples Academy Network. One of them being the upcoming 2023 Couples Academy Phoenix Awards Gala that is coming up on Saturday, October the 7th in beautiful Alpharetta, Georgia. It is going to be a night of dancing, great music, and the celebration of relationships. It is going to be an amazing experience. Charmaine and I, of course, will be there. We encourage you to definitely go to couplesacademy.com and get your tickets today. It is going to be an amazing event. Once again, that's the 2023 Phoenix Awards Gala that's going to be taking place on Saturday, October the 7th in lovely Alpharetta, Georgia. Once again, you're tuned into Before I Do. Tonight, we're talking about Should Relationships Have Secrets, Part 3, and the battleground of exceptions. Before we jump into that, we want to give a special shout out to some of our participants tonight. We have Chrissy tuning in from Arizona. We have Quita B. Hey, Quita B. And then we also have Hubert, of course, from Florida that are tuned in. Thank y'all so much for checking out before I do tonight. So again, we are talking about the exceptions when it comes to secrets. Now, again, as Charmaine mentioned, bear in mind that we are not condoning the secrecy as it relates to some of these exceptions that we're highlighting. What we're merely doing is really utilizing this as the majority of the secrecy that takes place within relationships and in dating usually fall into these three categories that we're going to discuss. So just sharing kind of the rationale behind these particular scenarios. And so as a true teen of the 90s, what's the scenario? So here's scenario number one. I do not fully disclose our financial status with my partner due to their struggle with a bad habit, behavior, or addiction. So this is a situation where we have a partner that is withholding information as it relates to the financial status and where they are. Maybe they're hiding and keeping a secret stash of money because of some of the things that their partner is into that could potentially have a negative ramification on their financial status. And so they're actually withholding that information in order, again, to protect the relationship and to protect the finances. Charmaine, now in situations like this, what have you seen that is that's been the struggle between two individuals that have this particular dynamic?
I mean, we definitely, this dynamic is huge, right? Finances is amongst the top reason why relationships, they cause relationships to go into crisis and for even divorce, as it relates to marriage. And so when it comes to the situation like this, where again, a person's not fully disclosing financial status with a partner who literally there is evidence. Right? There's evidence, there's patterns, there's trends of bad habits, behaviors, or addiction. And so it's not like this person is not fully disclosing because they just want to be in control. No, this person has shown themselves really not be in control of their spending habits. And so the question becomes is we've seen couples where this literally is done to help ensure that we're not homeless. This is being done because you don't have control over your spending, and now we could lose custody of our children if we don't have running water and the lights get cut off. Like literally, and our children go to school and they don't know, they mention it. Literally, our children can be removed from the home. So no, you're not making good choices right now. And so this is not, no, I'm not going to disclose for you our bank account. I know you have a gambling addiction and you can't resist playing the lotto. You can't resist going to the casino. So no, I'm not going to fully disclose our financial status, or every time we get money, you just have to spend it. Sometimes it could be that mindset where you just didn't grow up in an environment where you were used to having money. And so for you, it's like, no, money comes in, money goes out. So sometimes one partner has a strength, and if that partner is the stronger one when it comes to that financial status, and you have bad habits, you have proven yourself not to be healthy when it comes to your finances, and or you literally have a diagnosed addiction when it comes to gambling or spending, then yes, it is your partner's responsibility, especially if you're married. But if you're dating, specifically dating, this kind of falls into an area of privacy. You don't have to disclose your financial status if we're dating at all, right? But if you are, you guys are committed and you have some joint agreements, then yeah, this is, in all of these scenarios, you definitely should have a conversation with your partner and tell them, no, you're not. Like, no, I'm not going to disclose. So again, like you said, Walter, you don't have to keep it a secret. Well, why, well, where did you get this money from? Okay, well, I have a different bank account that you're not on. Why? Well, because you have bad habits, behavior, and you don't make good decisions when it comes to money. So that's still being transparent. I'm intentionally telling you, no, you do not have, access to the financial means because, you don't make choices. So there's a way to be, again, truthful and not withholding the truth, if your relationship can sustain that. Because sometimes people will get violent and or aggressive when they're not given access, especially if you have an addiction. Addiction will bring out a monster in your partner. And so if they're not, controlled, and usually if you're under an addiction, you're not controlled. So again, this is one scenario, but it really depends on the couple. Every unique couple has a very different scenario.
Yeah, and in this situation, it's important to remember that one partner is sick. And when one partner is sick, the other partner, even the Bible says that those of us who are stronger, we have to bear the infirmaries of the weak. Now, bear in mind that, again, as you're doing this, you want to be careful that you do not become an enabler. And so you should be actually partnering with your particular partner on helping them to get well. Part of that is disclosing the fact that, again, there are some challenges here, but also bearing in mind to be honest about the goal, that in order to make sure that we have a roof over our head, in order to make sure that the utilities stay on, there are certain things that I need to do in order to ensure that I'm protecting our relationship. So making sure you're maintaining truth when it comes to that. So, all right, scenario number two. Scenario number two, I do not share information on specific interactions with others, flirting, cordial greetings, possible interests, because of my partner's temper. So, Charmaine, I know that with you and I, we've talked about this from a gender standpoint. And whereas, again, when it comes to men, for me, a long time, I was very hesitant about sharing certain information with individuals that might have been interested in me, different interactions, because I didn't want to raise suspicion. And now, again, I may be being questioned about a situation where there isn't necessarily anything. And that's how a lot of men are groomed in that particular dynamic. However, what we've seen over the years and what I've grown to understand is that actually becomes a foothold for confusion. It becomes an opportunity for there to be a breach within our relationship. And now, as you mentioned before, there's someone who has information about our interaction that you are not aware of that could be weaponized against us via conversation with you.
Absolutely. And I mean, that is absolutely the power play, knowing other men and their behaviors and women and their behaviors. And I can't speak for men, but I know women, it definitely is a power play. If they don't even need you in the room, Walter, but if a woman can come up to me at an event and mention to me that, she bought you lunch, or, Walter did this thing and it was so sweet and I'm unaware of it, it's a power play. She's looking to see, your man did something for me that you're not even aware of. So it gives her kind of a sense of empowerment to know that, wow, I have a certain level of influence and completely clueless, and you're the wife. And so we really have to just be mindful of that, really sharing those situations, and really it can be used as a conversation. Your partner, sometimes it's a good reminder that people flirt with you. And it's a reality. If I'm attracted to you, I'm sure other people are attracted to you as well. But we sometimes put ourselves in a bad position. If I respond in a very negative way to you telling me, wow, this woman was flirting with me today, I'm definitely not helping you to feel comfortable bringing things to me. So I have to own my responses. And if I want you to feel comfortable, I absolutely have to make sure that I can handle what it is that you're sharing, and vice versa.
Absolutely. And Herbert, that actually goes right in alignment with the comment that you made. And I wanted to wait until we got that one to put it up. Herbert says, my wife thinks I'm lying whenever I withhold any truth, like not sharing when I spoke to anyone without her knowledge. Well, Herbert, even within your description, lying is withholding the truth. So you not sharing that and disclosing that with your wife is going to become a sticking point within your relationship. Now, the question there that you and your wife are going to have to deal with is, why are you withholding that information?
Yes.
Why are you not sharing that with her? That's the important part of the discussion that needs to happen there.
Right. And sometimes, again, I can tell Walter, I mean, this happened a couple of weeks ago, right? I told you that this guy, he came up and he was kind of flirting with me or whatever. I shared it with Walter. But again, I didn't have to get into all the details. The bottom line is this gentleman pulled up, asked me if I was okay, complimented me, tried to invite me out to lunch. I share that information with him, right? And so that he's aware of my interactions and things, but it also holds me accountable as well, to my partner, to my husband, to let him know the things that I experience. And I want him to be confident. I want him to be confident that I can take care of myself and that I know how to accept a compliment and not allow that to get to my head, right? Okay, I said, thank you for the compliment. You know, when they wanted to take it a step further, well, can I buy you lunch? Thank you. All right, I am happily married. And then I keep walking. I'm not even going to sit here and entertain the conversation. I told you I'm married. I thanked you for the compliment, and I'm keeping it moving at that point. And so he's building a sense of confidence that wow, she knows how to accept a compliment, not let it go to her head, and keep things moving, and vice versa. A lot of times, your wives want to know that our husbands can receive a compliment from a woman, not have the sin of the second look where now you drooling and you looking at her up and down and like, no, say thank you. I am married, and keep it moving, and let that be that. But a lot of times people can't do that. You get the compliment, and now you're lingering in the compliment. You're talking to for what? For what? So don't even allow a person to feel like there's an opportunity or a chance for them to, engage with you in that way. And that builds confidence for your partner.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, as it relates to being a good partner in that scenario, we have to be mature enough to be able to receive that information without weaponizing it against our partner. Where now the thought is, well, what were you doing? Well, what did you have on? Well, what did you say? Maybe the same things that attracted us to our partner, someone sees those things as well. Your partner didn't stop being attractive when you got into a relationship with them. So it's important again to show yourself as a good partner, as being willing again to share with them in that experience, so that our partner will feel comfortable coming to us and disclosing and sharing that information and not feeling like they need to withhold it. All right. So last scenario number 3. I have not revealed certain elements of my past, medical diagnosis, sexual orientation, or preferences and experiences out of concern for the future of our relationship. Obviously, we live in a time right now, everyone, where there are certain individuals that are reassigning their gender, and things of that nature. There are individuals who may have been diagnosed with certain medical challenges or issues that have not shared that information. And again, people are learning to be careful that, hey, my name is Walter and I have schizophrenia, because again, you want people to see you, not necessarily your diagnosis. And so it's important to, again, if you find yourself withholding information from this individual that you are involved with because you're concerned about the future of your relationship, then that's a telltale sign that there may be some challenges just with the future of the relationship in general, if you're not able to disclose some of those important components of yourself and of your life. Charmaine, what do you say?
I'm definitely going to jump into this one because you're right. These are some sensitive topics, right? Medical diagnosis, sexual orientation or preferences or experiences, all of these things are very powerful. And I can remember, years back, when Jerry Springer was doing all of these, reveals and things where this person, they express as a woman, but they're biologically male, or, and you would have certain people and I remember there was a show, old school, I'm a little older, y'all. There was a show called Jenny Jones, and literally there was a gentleman who wound up committing suicide because there was a gentleman that had a crush and revealed that he had a crush on him, and he told the network he absolutely did not want to come on the show if it was the same-sex person expressing interest. At some point, we live in a time where if you know that, look, I'm only interested in dating, somebody of the opposite sex, or somebody that, is biologically this or that or whatever, or has this equipment or whatever, then it's a hard thing to say on a first date, right? It's a hard thing to say. Everyone is going to reveal, all these intimate details. However, at some point, unfortunately, like nowadays, you do have to clear about what your expectations are for dating and what you desire, so that you don't get too, because again, that is very private, and a person is not going to walk around with a billboard of their medical diagnosis, oftentimes their sexual orientation, preference, or their expression. So this one is a really, really tough one. It's really intimate, and it requires you to reveal a lot of your medical history.
Absolutely. I think it is, again, this actually speaks to, again, as it relates to the relationship. And as you're going deeper into this relationship, if you're not comfortable sharing it, again, asking yourself the question of why, and then understanding that, and then asking the question, are you going to be able to really build a relationship that's built off of truth without really sharing some of this information? And that is a really important question that you want to ask. And so often people will be hesitant because they don't feel as if they will be able to build a genuine relationship for someone that will love them, because of some of the other elements that may be a part of them, that if they just withheld those things, then I would be able to have this relationship. But you have to be careful that, again, you're not building a relationship that is not going to really speak to and support the totality of who you are. It is imperative that you strive to be in a relationship with someone that embraces all of you, the good, the indifferent, the challenges, all of it. And so again, this is over the course of a period of time. So again, no one can tell you that, okay, it's been 2 weeks, or it's been 3 months, or it's been 6 months. But the fact of the matter is that we have to really make sure we're being honest with ourselves about who we are, and wanting to be in a relationship with individuals that are going to embrace the totality of who we are. Hey, everyone. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to Before I Do, man. This topic, I tell you, has been a real interesting one. Hopefully you all have gotten a lot out of this. My baby is still out of town. She came back in town. Now she's out again. Of course, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And of course, we look forward to seeing all of you next week. It's the last Wednesday of the month. So as you all know, it's our Speak Now Q&A night. So if you have any questions, especially surrounding our topic for this month, which we talked about secrets in relationships, be sure to text those questions to us so we can cover them next week on the show. And we'll look forward to getting your comments and your questions. Charmaine, you got any last questions or comments for the people as we sign out?
Definitely, if nothing else, this series, when it comes to secrecy, privacy, good scenes, bad scenes, and exception, we want you all to be encouraged to have the honest conversations. Have the honest conversation. So if there is an exception, there's an addiction, there's some reason why you don't believe your partner's in a healthy place, let them know you're not in a healthy place. In a healthy place, this is not something that I'm going to share with you in this season because you're not healthy. However, it doesn't mean I'm going to hold you to this long term. And so as you get healthy, as you start to demonstrate, we can rebuild that trust factor, and we can get back to that place of really removing layers that we have of that privacy and or secrecy. And so just really encouraging you to have the conversation. Okay?
Absolutely.
You should never need to be in omission of the truth.
Absolutely. If you're finding yourself having challenges with facilitating those conversations, be sure to reach out to us at couplesacademy.com. Book us for a session. It is our privilege to partner with you in helping to facilitate those conversations, courageous conversations within your relationship. Or maybe, again, you're looking for some one-on-one coaching as well. And we do offer that here also. Again, thank y'all so much for tuning into Before I Do. We'll see y'all next week. On behalf of Charmaine, good night, everybody.
What is the best gift or investment for a newly engaged couple?
What do couples really need? proactive, transparent synergy. They need to synthesize. A 12-week premarital group counseling experience that combines the mind, heart, mission, and vision for an effective future.
No matter the age or life experience, this research-based curriculum will help to increase marriage resilience by 30%. Why choose Synthesize for premarital counseling? 1, to better understand yourself and your partner, and to audit your past and present condition in order to be a proactive couple.
2, to engage in crucial conversations about finances, communication, sex, and intimacy, to be fully and completely transparent.
3, to develop a unified vision and mission in order to embody high levels of synergy.
Give the gift that builds proactive, transparent synergy. Synthesize.